Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Friday, January 27th, 2023, and tonight I am sharing true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all of the shows and links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And there are a few people that have listened to the show that can verify that. I've had some people on to talk about their experiences, so always happy to do that with whoever wants to. So I have a couple of stories to read tonight. Again, just a reminder, at least as for the foreseeable future, I will be doing shows every night, every day, basically, depending on your time zone. So there will be a new show every day, as much as possible. And this is the first one of those days where I'm starting that. I used to take 2 days off, but I'm seeing if I can change that. And I think I can. It looks like it'll be good. So let's see here. The plans for the next several days here, today through, let's say, Wednesday, will be a mix of the these shows, True Paranormal Stories on the Web and Paranormal News. And then next week, there will be a review show of some kind. Probably more Lovecraft, it looks like, as of right now. So I'll be getting back to that soon. So yeah, I think that's everything for now. So with that, I can get on to the stories. Thank you all for being here and listening. I see you all there in the stream listening, and also thank you all who listen to the show in the podcast or YouTube feeds. It's really appreciated. The numbers, I see the numbers for each episode as people listen to them or watch them, and it always just is amazing to me. It blows my mind how many times these things get listened to or viewed. So yeah, that's basically it. Let me see here. Let me get back to the file, and I'll get to these stories. All right, so this one says, a little information. My best friend has a ghost attachment. It's been with her family for years. We're still trying to figure out what it is and how to get rid of it. But needless to say, the entire time I've been friends with her, I've encountered so much activity. This just happened to be one of the creepiest. So my friend and I moved in with each other into a basement suite. We were both pretty broke at the time, so it was only one bedroom. I took up residence on the couch and slept in the living room, which made it my bedroom. Our suite is shaped like an L. You walk in, you're in the kitchen. On the other side of the room is the living room. Beside that is the laundry room, which is connected to my friend's room and the bathroom. Hopefully that description made some sense. So one night, I had settled down for the evening. I'm the type to have to contemplate the meaning of life so I can fall asleep. I started hearing soft taps coming from the living room. They were slow, but then it got to the living room, and I heard the unmistakable sounds of footsteps. We had cheap laminate flooring, which accentuated every step the thing took. I could tell it was trying to be quiet, and once it made it to the middle of the living room, sorry, it says 3. It stopped. I became very aware of a presence, and I felt like I was being watched. I absolutely refused to open my eyes. I thought if I pretended I didn't hear anything, it would leave me alone. After a long time of tense silence, I somehow fell asleep and woke up the next morning, rather confused. I know for a fact those footsteps weren't from my roommate. I've known her long enough to recognize her footsteps. These ones were different. I kind of regret not opening my eyes, but I'm glad too. It was pitch black in the living room. I'm not sure I'd even be able to see it, even if it was standing there. That's the only time I've ever heard footsteps, but it was creepy. Probably one of the creepiest things that's happened to me to date. This happened back in uh, either 2019 or 2020. I can't exactly remember. Let's see here. Is it then? Okay, yep, that's the end. So that's an amazing concept, and I've heard that before. Attachments of some kind of spirit or some being to a family. Now, I wonder if it's the family or if it's just that one person from the family or how that works. It is also amazing in a way that someone else outside of the family was able to have an experience. I always wonder how that works as well. Is it because that presence is allowing itself to be sensed or heard by people outside of that family, or is it just because it's in the same area as the person, or is it a sensitivity thing? Just a lot of questions there, but it sounds like that just the person from that family, and then also the writer, have had a lot of experiences. I just wonder if it's tied to the entire family or the writer's roommate, who was part of that family. I'm glad that nothing else happened. It doesn't sound like a overly, like a really terrible kind of a presence or attachment, if that's what it is. So it could be a guardian for all anyone knows. It's hard to say with just only that input of that short story there, that experience. But still a neat experience there, and I would wonder if there's been any attempt to figure out who it is or why it's there. And that's again just questions that come to mind that can't really be answered based on this one telling of this one experience. But if the family hasn't, I would be curious to know what they would find if they did try that. To either through a maybe a team of paranormal investigators, which can you have to be careful with that because depending on who you're bringing in and their methods and their beliefs, that can stir things up. Or just through looking into the history of the family more. I wonder if it's related to the family itself. Again, it's just hard to say, but I would definitely, if that was happening to my family, I'd want to look into it and figure out what's going on and why. And then if it was something that I didn't want, that I'd want to figure out how to get whoever or whatever this is to go away. But of course, I'm the kind where if it didn't mean any harm, then I would be okay with it staying. So I might not be the best judge of that. But yeah, really neat experience there. It sounds like there's something going on. And so yeah, that's the first story I had for tonight. And I have one more. And I wonder if this is similar things. Again, you always hear about places being haunted or having paranormal activity in them, but you don't always think about people. And I'm wondering if the second story is another example of that in a different way. So let me read this, and maybe you'll see what I mean. This one says, everyone that has lived with me has experienced me calling them from another room. The issue is that I'm not even home when they go and check. They tell me that they hear me call them by an endearing name or something that I would only call them by. The weirdest incident was when one friend heard me ask her from her closed bedroom door what she was doing, speaking in her native language, fluently, which I don't even know how to speak. It usually starts happening when I spend extended time with people, any time of the day, as long as the other person is alone. The other night, however, I was in another room, so the person who heard me was not alone. Or my voice, sorry, was not alone. They came out to ask if I had called them, but I was scrolling on my phone the whole time. What could this be? I thought maybe I sleep talk, but most of the incidents have been times when I was not even in the same building. And this time I was wide awake, busy scrolling on my phone. Has anyone had similar experiences? So that's where that story ends. Let me check on something here. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know what that is, but it sounds almost like another version of maybe some kind of entity attached to this person, or at least staying in the same place as this person. But now the way that the voice seemed to know a different language that the writer doesn't even know, that to me says it's something else, someone else mimicking her voice, but aware of more than she is herself. That's an amazing detail there that I think is important to this story. I don't know if I said she, they, I don't know who it is, but yeah, that's just, I guess she, because of the endearing thing. But the writer themselves, this whatever this is, knows more, knows a different language, in more detail than the writer does. So, again, that to me means it's some other being. It's not a case of, you hear about sometimes bilocation or astral projection, or thoughts, just being people hearing each other's thoughts. If that's a different language and that the writer doesn't even know, that to me seems like the chances are less that it's them somehow. So, amazing stories there. And I thought there might be a link in some way to these stories, to similar situations. Of course, who knows, but it's fun to think about anyway. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you all for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with paranormal news on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone.